affects people in many different countries, it's found that those people who have more education tend to get more training. And policymakers and many other people get very worried about this because they think it's unfair. So the question arises, why does that happen? And there are two answers to that. One is to do with the people, and one is to do with employers. And the main answer, according to my talk I'm going to give tomorrow, is just because of employers. It's the sort of jobs which people do. And in this modern day and age, the more educated people are in the sort of high-skilled jobs, of course, but those high-skilled jobs require more and more training. That's the point, that we live in a dynamic world where high-skilled jobs, just acquiring some knowledge now, is not going to serve you until you until you retire at the end of your working career. You're going to constantly need to update your skills as you get older and as technology changes, and it affects those people more who have higher levels of education. Whereas people with lower levels of education doing operating jobs and low-skilled occupations, they tend not to require so much training from an ongoing point of view, and that's the main reason why it's difficult to get more training and more opportunities for upskilling for those people who are less educated in the first place. And the remarkable thing is that you find is that this is not just true in Spain, it's not just true in my country, which is England, it's true in just about every single country you look at. It's one of those ubiquitous everywhere results which we need to try and understand better, because it does affect the sorts of policies which governments use to try and remedy this inequality. That takes us then back to the education system. And the biggest emphasis I would give, particularly coming from England, is on equality. I come from a country where we have a relatively unequal education system, an extremely good education system at the top end. Those people who are privately educated, generally in the past and even more so in the present, been able to dominate the positions of leadership in society, whether in the public sphere or in the private sphere. And what's needed is a more generalization of that through the whole of society. Now, of course, in every country, that equalization is also at the same time as an improvement. All countries are getting more and more educated. I don't know a single country where the workforce is not much more educated now than it was 20 years ago. But there remains these substantial inequalities which are worse in some countries than others, worse particularly in my own country, England, much worse than in Spain. It means starting from preschool education, and evidence seems to be pretty strong from many countries that interventions when children are very, very young make a long-lasting effect on their lives. If there is good policy to make sure that children from the poorest classes get access to good education or good preschool experiences, is going to be very important. So yes, preschool education is especially important in the modern day, but that shouldn't be to the neglect of the other aspects of lifelong. Beyond education, training continues to be extremely important, and there the emphasis I would give is on making sure that training is properly available to a good cross-section of the population. And when I say training, I mean good quality training. An efficient labour market is one which has a balance of regulation and freedom, in my view. One which is fair to both sides of the labour market bargain. But nonetheless, there should be protection for workers. It's productive if people can have confidence in the future of their career with a particular employer. It's not a question of for or against the regulation of the labour market. It's a question of better regulation of the labour market.